This is part 1 of the video series on installing Morimoto H1 projectors from the Retrofit Source. Already opened it up, checked, make sure everything was there. Everything was there, perfect. I ordered these with the cheapest shipping option. They came about 3 days later because I ordered them on Christmas, I believe. So, here we go, let's open it up. Now, the first thing that I noticed when I opened the box is, I've dealt with a lot of online retailers, and hands down this has to be the best packed, most professionally, put together. Each one of these is in their own individual box. Got my shrouds, V-stock shrouds, and these rings to mount them. As the only complaint I have with the whole thing is these two little rings here. You get two of them, called the shroud-centric rings. Shred, and they're all individually bagged and everything else. But these two rings, plastic rings, $10 for these two rings. It's a little too much in my opinion. But if that's the only complaint, can't beat it. So then we got all this extra packaging. Like I said, I made sure everything was there, so I repackaged it. But you get this beautiful looking envelope. All this information. And you get your alcohol wipes, clean it. Little business card. Nice little vinyl sticker. And this, I didn't know about this until I actually opened the package. But I was planning on doing this video anyway, but I got a little incentive. Number 1, post a recommendation for TRS on our Facebook page or write a product review or testimonial on our website. Get your choice, $5 cash back or $10 store credit. Number 2, post up a positively kick-ass TRS review on our forum you frequent most or on our Yelp page. Get your choice, $10 cash back or $20 store credit. Number 3, post a detailed installation write-up and review with your TRS components on the automotive forum you frequent most. Get your choice, $25 cash back or $50 store credit. That's pretty awesome, especially being that kind of having the budget to do this piece by piece, can't just order everything at once, so that's a really big help. And you got a little link, and this is all, glossy cardstock, definitely not cheap stuff. And my billing order. All packed in peanuts. Make sure nothing's gonna get scratched or damaged. And the first thing, I checked everything out because I got everything on clearance. So, everything on clearance is obviously there for a reason. So I'm sitting here inspecting it, and can you see that little divot in the bottom there? That's the only imperfection. And this one, the only imperfections I can see are, even inspecting it closely, you can even with my naked eye, I can barely even see it, but it looked like maybe the prep work wasn't the greatest in one tiny little spot, so there's stuff underneath the plating, but you can barely even detect it with the naked eye, let alone, once it's in the headlight, covered up by whatever. And these are getting painted because, I found out they're much too big, so they're gonna have to get trimmed down a little bit. So they're ended up getting painted anyway, so that's not gonna matter. Now, Projectors. Now these I got out the door with the shrouds and the rings and everything, 40 bucks for a pair of these. And these are the H1s, you know, not the DS2 ones. And when you get these, they're going to come with bulb holders on the back, and there's three screws that you take out, Phillips head screws, and you just remove that, and there will be a aluminum nut that threads on here. You take that off so you can get it through the back of the headlight. Now I've already pre-done this on both of these, just, you know, putting them in, just seeing how they'll fit real quick. And I also wanted to test them. That's another thing you want to do when you first get them. You want to test a little solenoid in there. First you want to, you know, stick your finger in there and make sure it moves. You know, make sure there's no binding or anything. And take out the other one. You know, same thing with the other one. I already tested these. I know they both work. So it's 40 bucks. Pair of working projectors, can't beat it. And make sure that moves. These are your solenoid wires that come off. You know, you want to check out your lenses and make sure everything else looks good. And same thing on these. You know, the only flaw I can find is on each one of these, there's a tiny little scratch. I mean, tiny. Like, you can't even see it. It's maybe like a millimeter long at most, and it's not even deep. It looks like maybe it just brushed up against something real quick. But like I said, pretty much undetectable flaws in everything here. So major dollar savings. Thumbs up to the Retrofit Source. So in order to test the solenoids, you'll need, you know, basic 9-volt battery. And I just have some, you know, old speaker wire sitting here. And what I did was I took and maybe 3/4 of an inch, stripped it, twisted it, and then, you know, bent it back around just to make it a little bit bigger. And then, you know, take my solenoid wire here, and you'll just take these and stick them in between the pin. You know, make sure you know which one's positive and which one's negative. Do the line as positive, so stick it in between the negative and the shroud of the wiring harness is kind of, you know, it's in there a little bit, but not too much. You want to make sure that you're not going to have interference between the two, or else you'll short it out. So make sure all of them are on this side, and then you stick this one in here the same way. Just wedge it in there. You know, you don't want to force it, you don't want to bend anything, just enough for it to hold it so you can test it. And, you know, make sure none of these are touching each other, because if you short it out, you may run into some issues blowing out your solenoid, all that good stuff. So you come back, you find your positive, which had the line on it, and these are old wires, hard to see, there it is. And then the big end is your negative, small end is your positive. So we have a negative here, and then as soon as you touch the positive, you'll hear it click if it works. That's your solenoid working. You'll actually be able to see inside the solenoid moving. Let's see if I can do this so you can see it. As I readjust my wire here. Okay. Multitasking. Okay. Now, stabilize that. Yeah, that's your high beam, low beam solenoid. These are by xenon. So, yeah, you want to check them out. These work. you go and you'll do the other thing. Like I said, I already tested these, so I know these both work. But just to save time, obviously we only need to test one because it's the same thing on both ones. But there you go. You want to test them out first thing, make sure everything works. You don't want to go through all the trouble of doing all this just to find out that your solenoids are blown or something. Pop everything back up nice. Now, I put all the hardware I took off, the bulb holders, back in, you know, the bags with the rest of the hardware, but you get a bunch of hardware with it. Yeah, this is your bulb holder and your 3 screws. And then you get an adapter plate. Another adapter plate, your spring for your bulb, your little aluminum nut, you get 2 rubber donuts, and this one kind of has like a concave surface in it, can't really see it too well, but yeah, your reflector bowl sitting there, and it'll kind of like, you know, dampen vibration, line it up, you know, seal out the moisture, and you have one for the other side too. You know, I suggest using both of these just for extra seal and, you know, making sure your stuff isn't going to get damaged from vibration. So if this big one doesn't fit, you can always cut it smaller. But yeah, good stuff. I mean, it's definitely a great deal. You know, even if you are just starting out, you're not doing, you know, you haven't done anything like this before, and you're kind of leery about buying a really good set of projectors and trying this out. You know, this is perfect for that. This is perfect for people who want to experiment with different setups. You know, even just to end up putting in something better later. But I mean, I'm sure regardless these will be way better. And unfortunately, I don't have the bulb system and everything else yet, so can't really see how they look lit up. But this is just the unboxing, and so far, it's pretty awesome. You know, you got extremely professional packaging. Like I said, it's the most professional looking packaging I've, you know, a great packaging job. Even the tape. You know, they got their own tape. And then this, like, that's awesome. Everything's packaged up, nothing's, you know, gonna get damaged in transport unless they're sitting there playing kickball with it, but obviously you can't do anything about people abusing packages. But yeah, great shape, great price, everything works. A+, 5 out of 5 stars here.